There is a gate, hidden in plain sight on the eastern wall of Jerusalem's old city. Most people pass by without a second thought, but to those who know the ancient prophecies of the Bible, this gate carries a mystery that reaches into the end times. Sealed for nearly 500 years, the Golden Gate, also called the Eastern Gate or the Gate of Mercy, is more than just a wall of stone. It is the very gate through which, according to prophecy, the Messiah will one day enter. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 44, verse 2, the prophet declares, "This gate shall be shut, it shall not be opened, and no man shall enter in by it, because the Lord, the God of Israel, hath entered in by it, therefore it shall be shut." This sealing was not random. In the 16th century, the powerful Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent ordered the gate closed, offering no official reason. But many believe he did so to stop the fulfillment of the Jewish messianic prophecy, as if human hands could delay what God has ordained. Why would a ruler fear a prophecy written over 2,000 years ago? What secret does this gate hold that it remains untouched to this day? Psalm 24:7 proclaims, "Lift up your heads, O gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." Could it be that this very gate, sealed in silence, is destined to burst open at the return of the King of glory? Is it possible that we are closer to the fulfillment of this prophecy than we realize? The signs, the silence and the scriptures all point in one direction, toward a moment foretold when ancient stones will witness a divine entry once more. What lies beyond this gate? Why was it sealed? And more importantly, who will open it? Prepare to uncover what history tried to hide and what prophecy refuses to let us forget. For nearly 5 centuries, a gate in the heart of Jerusalem has remained sealed, untouched, unmoved, and wrapped in mystery. But the story doesn't end with stone and mortar. Just beyond this ancient eastern gate, also known as the Golden Gate, lies something far more unsettling, a graveyard. Yes, deliberately built in front of the very gate that, according to biblical prophecy, the Messiah will one day walk through. But why a cemetery? According to Jewish tradition, a priest, or Kohen, cannot come into contact with the dead without becoming ritually impure. See Numbers 19:11. And since the Messiah is believed by many to come from a priestly or Davidic lineage, some theorize that this cemetery was placed there to spiritually block his entry. It sounds like something out of a prophetic thriller, doesn't it? In the 16th century, when Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent sealed the gate, no official reason was ever given. But what followed raised even more questions. The cemetery was added in front of the gate, a silent wall of bones and tombs standing as a human attempt to stop a divine plan. But can God's promises be thwarted by graves and gates? The prophet Isaiah once declared, "I will go before you and level the mountains. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron." Isaiah 45:2. No stone, no scheme of man, no earthly obstacle can stand in the way of what God has already spoken. And now, something strange is happening. In recent years, visitors to the Eastern Gate have reported unusual things: fine dust falling from the cracks, tiny vibrations beneath their feet, stones shifting ever so slightly as if stirred by something ancient, something awakening. Engineers studying the site have found odd misalignments in the wall's structure, subtle shifts that they can't quite explain. There's been no official announcement, no logical answer, but the whispers are growing. Some say it's just natural wear and tear. Others believe it's the beginning of something far more prophetic. Could it be that the gate is preparing to open? Psalm 24:9 calls out, "Lift up your heads, O gates, lift them up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in." It is not just poetic language, it is a promise. And if the King of Glory truly is coming, then not even death itself, not even a wall of tombs, will stop him. So the question remains, is what we're seeing just the result of time and erosion, or is it the quiet shaking of prophecy coming to life? Tell me, what do you think is happening behind that sealed gate? Let's talk in the comments, because this may be more than just history. It might be destiny. Something strange is happening in Jerusalem, quiet, subtle, but unmistakable. They say the Eastern Gate, the Golden Gate, is beginning to stir, as if it's waking up after centuries of silence. The very gate that faces the Mount of Olives, standing on the eastern wall of the old city, long sealed, long forgotten by many, but not by prophecy. This isn't just a wall of ancient stones. This is a symbol, a prophetic marker of what has been and what is still to come. Long before the time of Christ, the prophet Ezekiel had a vision. In chapter 43, he describes the glory of the Lord returning from the east, and behold, the glory of the God of Israel came from the way of the east. And the glory of the Lord came into the temple by way of the gate which faces toward the east. Ezekiel 43:2-4. Centuries later, Jesus fulfilled part of that vision. On what we now call Palm Sunday, he descended from the Mount of Olives, crossed the Kidron Valley, and entered the city. Through that very gate, the people shouted, "Hosanna!" not fully realizing they were witnessing prophecy unfold. But Jesus didn't just enter, he also promised to return. In Acts 1, we read that Jesus ascended into heaven from the Mount of Olives, and the angels who stood by the disciples said clearly, "This same Jesus, who was taken from you into heaven, will come back in the same way you have seen him go." Acts 1:11. Zechariah 14 goes even deeper. It tells us that when the Messiah returns, his feet will once again touch the Mount of Olives. From the east, toward Jerusalem, toward the sealed gate. And then Jesus himself warned us, "When you see all these things, know that it is near, right at the door." Matthew 24:33. Right at the door. Could he have been speaking literally? What if that door is the Eastern Gate, the very one sealed for over 500 years? What if we are closer than we think to seeing it open once again, not by human hands, but by the power of heaven? And here's the real question. Are you ready? This isn't just theology. It's not just history or architecture. It's the unfolding of God's timeline, the slow, steady awakening of a promise that has never been forgotten in the courts of heaven. So when people say, the gate is shifting, when dust falls from the cracks, when engineers say they feel vibrations with no explanation, maybe it's not just coincidence. Maybe it's a sign the gate is still sealed. But for how long? When Jesus returns, and the Bible assures us that he will, the world will never be the same again, and he will come from the east, just as he left, just as it was foretold. So I ask you, if that gate were to open today, if you saw it begin to move, would you recognize the moment? Would you be ready for what comes next? Let's talk about it in the comments. Because what's behind that gate may not stay hidden much longer, and what it leads to is eternity.